morning, and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Last Call. Roadhouse Last Call, the morning show that does, wait for it, such as whatnots, other things, more things, less things, all sorts of things. Without question, lots and lots of suches and whatnots. This being said, I'm joined today by the Benda. I'm joined today by Stonkington. We have a wonderful show prepared for you today. It talks about how, because China has no money, their inflation goes down. This is good. This is good. This is good. Bender, how was your evening?
I just had a weird thought that you make a lot of assumptions when you
I do.
when you open this call. It's interesting because when you're joined by somebody that you can see and you know that they're there, you're like, oh yeah, hey, this is so and so, he's with me, right?
Mhm.
You don't know we're here. You have no idea. But every morning you're like, today I'm joined by the vendor, and it's like, but you don't know if we're here.
So
You make
you say this,
assumptions.
but well, so you're making an assumption that I'm making an assumption. I can say unequivocally that your work is always here, whether you're here or not. The concept
So now it's all
of
hypothetical. It could be a
it
I'm
most
here in
certainly is.
spirit.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Correct. Vertical and horizontal wasn't a thing. You made it a thing. Um, so there's that. Your lines on the ES that I've bastardized and transposed onto SPY. Yeah, you're still here.
I'm here. All right,
So
good to know.
I can always say that you're here even when you're not here, even though that I always prefer that you be here. Um, yeah.
Right
What you
on.
think about them apples?
Well, sounds good. Means I don't even have to be here, and I'm here.
Correct.
I like that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really, really is. All right, so let's get into some of the activity. There really wasn't anything new overnight other than China. China has no monies, so they can't spend any monies, so inflation goes down. Neat trick. Really, really neat trick. Kind of what we're trying to pull off over here, but they're doing it a different way. Still a lot of pump left off of that GDP print from Japan, which was again very, very positive for the global economy. So we have that that is still kind of lingering out there. They'd be like, okay, so maybe we don't go into a global recession if a powerhouse like Japan can pull it together and continue to move forward in their own way, which is using policy that is completely different than other Western nations. So we also have that within the mix that is very interesting. We had a plethora, cornucopia of Fed speakers and job owners all day yesterday. And do you know what happened, Bender?
What happened?
Nobody said anything to fuck anything up.
Well, that's new.
And even if they tried, the market was like, that's a cool dip. I'm going to buy it. That's a cool dip. I'm going to buy it. The last 2 days, what we have seen is dip, buy, stair step, dip, buy, stair step. That's been the game. That's been what's been going on. So today, we have multiple Fed speakers. I guess Clarita is on now. So there could be some shenaniganery. But at the same time, if you're looking at that beige book that came out earlier this week, you have to look at it, you have to be objective and say, you know what? There's some things that are cooling off and cooling down. The data is trending where not only has inflation peaked, but it's legitimately pulling back. If that has anything to do with Fed or anything to do with the supply chain or anything to do with anything, honestly, it really doesn't matter. It's moving in the right direction. So if we get that coming in, that data coming in the way we need it, equities have a chance to shine. Also, that pullback in the dollar. I don't know if anybody took that WPM trade several days ago, but that pullback on the dollar is going to help metals and help those companies. Let's see if we can get a continued pullback down on the dollar to get that move going over there. And we all know how that helps tech. With this being said, Benda, tell me about some lines and suches and whatnots.
You assumed I was still here.
Well, if you weren't here, I would go ahead and be like, well, fuck, I guess I got to go pull up the chart and look at them lines.
All right. Well, I have all this. 1 second. I got to get the right screen up here. All right. So we're currently sitting pre-market 40.55. I'm going to give you a couple charts. This first one, let's see, it's just a very simple, longer term chart showing that, kind of down channel that we've been in. There's a much longer term up channel. I'm going to show you that one too in a few minutes, but this is just for perspective. Here's a kind of a closer zoomed in version of that same channel. And you can see the there's a few lines that I put on there. One would be that 50% retracement. Obviously we spilled down through that level and then popped back above, but that's like 40.25. So that would be a level to watch. So we're at 40.55. Well, I had a level above 40.45, but we have crossed through that. 40.64 would be an extension, a fib off this most recent move up. Would be 40.64. I don't see, honestly, a ton of resistance really until like 40.80-ish. But I again, we're above 40.50. I would have said, okay, well, 40.50, reasonable to look there for possible resistance. And then 40.64 fib, and then we got some resistance up around 40.80, but that takes us to 4100. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for levels above. As far as, hold on a second.
Real quick, did you see the after hours flow that I posted?
Here we go. This is the one I was looking for. Was it the SPY stuff? SPY calls?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I had glanced at that, yeah.
So the 407 and 408, that definitely works with what you're talking about. That 407, homeboy just loaded in 300K on an overnight YOLO.
Nice.
Which means he knows some shit that we just don't, right?
Right.
It's like,
and
if you,
maybe.
right, and if you look at the timestamps, it's like he came in and scattershot this shit last night after hours. Just pop, 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 pop. There was 405s, 406s, 407s, 408s. Take another 407. It's like she was. We don't know.
Don't make assumptions.
You can't make those assumptions. Those assumptions you cannot make. These assumptions we can. But it's interesting when you were talking about those levels, that kind of lines up with a lot as far as what you're talking about.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Makes sense. So on that chart that I just posted, you can see that red line where I've got the arrow there, just so everybody knows kind of where that line comes from. For anyone that may not have been following along for the last, how many? We're like 2 months doing this. That's what I hear. Here you go. That is a parallel channel that was made from pre-COVID high to COVID low. That's why I always have that red line on the chart and why we always talk about it. And there's the screenshot of that. So that comes in at, so I'm going to talk about levels of support below. That comes in at like 40.30, and 40.29 is the 20 MA on the 60 minute. So if we pull back, I would look at that 40.30 level for the first area of support. Below that, we have that fib at 40.25, and then below that, 40.15, previous area of support and resistance. If we pull back this morning, if we give up that 40.30 and we go test 40.15, that would be an area that I would say that's kind of a key. We trade below 40.15, then we're probably going to test 4,000, and probably 39.80. That would kind of be a spill, and it's we're probably going to go down to 39.80. If we stay above 40.30, then I think all those targets that I gave above, I think that's what you aim for. And again, that's 40.64, that fib at 40.64, and then 40.80-ish.
Very nice. Okay. So everybody, we see what we're looking at. We have an idea. We have vendors charts, and we have some of that flow from after hours, which I'll touch on to close the morning show. Do you have anything else, Bender?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is just to recap. So on Wednesday, I gave a level that was 39.15, right? And I said above 39.15, I think long works, below 39.15. I think we got to look short. And in the morning, we crossed 39.15. We came back, we tested it, and then we fucking rallied our asses off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that play worked. Yesterday, that level that I gave was 39.55. We blasted 39.55. We came back, we tested it within 5 handles, and then rallied in the afternoon, right? That level was 39.55. It's not quite as clear today, but I would say 40.30 would be the place to take a shot with a tight stop. If it doesn't work, you look at that 40.15 and let that kind of be the key. But that's what I'll be looking at.
All right. No, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for all that. Stockington?
Hello?
And you better not start out with, I had these lines drawn and I had these triggers ready, but with the gap up. Don't start like that. Don't you fucking do it.
No, I already put new ones. We got triggers. I do still have to walk the dog.
Way to be nimble over there, buddy. Good job.
Yeah. I mean, assumed here and here. So that's a big part of it, right? Yeah, so I put my list out there, and then my theory is that someone with $89 million saw that I had Baba on there and decided to hit it with dark pool 2 cents away from my put trigger. So somebody's watching. And yeah, you said China. So China moved up, Baba moved up. So I have Baba now stuck between 2 other dark pools. 91.99 if we were to go to the upside. And if we're going to go down, there's this one at 91.22 that worked as pre-market support. So we'll be watching Baba. Baba's been getting pretty good flow. It sounds like there's some news. So I think that could be a good one to keep an eye on. The herpes. Netflix, gap up. I had an old line at 230.93. So we'll see if we can break that to the upside. And then an old dark pool is now just slightly below 229.87 for Netflix. And then Tesla, kind of just using what we had going pre-market. It stalled out 293.75. So be looking to see if we can break that resistance to the upside. And then line here at 291.1 if we were going to go down on Tesla. Just the reminders on SPY, we crossed with this move up, we crossed the 5.9 billion at 401.60. So if we move down to it, if we can bounce off that. And then just some interesting dark pools that came in last night. There was a phantom print on SPY that I believe would have already hit. It was in the 404 range. And then you mentioned those little calls that came in. And then Merck has been getting a lot of dark pool. And then Coca-Cola was ticker KO, and they're still hitting it at the same spot, 62.12 this morning. So I'm going to keep an eye out, see if we get any flow, but that could be a potential play to the upside since it's already moved up off that dark pool. That's all I got.
Very nice. Okay, so to wrap this up, I want to put out a reminder in through here. I don't know if it was last week or week before last. We had on Thursday coming into Friday, we had $1 million SPXW player. He came in the night of, much like last night into today. He popped in with $1 million. He popped out with 1.5 million, and within minutes of him popping out on that 1.5, we spilled, and we bled, and we sold, and we sold, and we sold. So, not saying that that is going to happen. What I'm saying is those lines not those lines, but yeah, no, those lines of flow that were posted here, this little player over here, if we see these 407s come in on the bid, it's like, homeboy, 16-cent contracts dump 300K. Those come in on the bid, we need to start bidding some of our positions. At least I am. Yeah, I'm going to start moving off. If we get double downs, if we get 410s into next week or 12s into the week after that, that changes the game a little bit. But if we see these things come in on the bid, we have to understand that this player that was playing this gap up, they're done with the gap up. They don't feel that there's a gap and go. We have to be aware of what's going on. These are breadcrumbs, right? We have to be aware. So let's respect it on the upside, just the same as we respect it on the downside. If they flip, I'm gonna flip. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want, but it's like I'm gonna move off of some of this stuff. So with that being said, that's all I have left for the show. We have 23 minutes until open. Bender, Stockington, do you have anything else for the peoples?
No, we rely on you to tell us when they flip, or Stonkington.
Yeah,
Let us know.
which well, he doesn't watch ETF flow, so
Okay.
that's going to be, I guess, on
You'll
me.
tell us.
And we also have some brilliant eyes in here that do a hell of a job as far as stocking these out. But let's keep the other thing that I'm going to be looking for. Late in the day yesterday, they came in, and I tried to get into those NVIDIA 149s for next week. I was trying to get in. They wouldn't give me the price that I wanted, so I wasn't able to do it. I'm watching those also. If those 149 calls on NVIDIA come in on the bid, that means that this gap up that they were playing, the play is done. The trade is over. So these are the things that we have to, when you're using flow, when you're trying to understand how to use flow and how it works, you have to understand what you're seeing. If you just sit around and you wait for an alert to pop up through the system, you're missing 99.9% of the shit that's out there. 99.9% you are missing if you're just waiting for an alert to pop up. So this is what I'm looking for. Let's be sharp. Let's be wise. Let's take advantage of what they give us. So with that being said, that's all I got. I got now 11 and some change till open. Let's get it.
22.
22, the man says. 2-2.